Who is Alycia Parks Alex Eala's first assignment at the Australian Open? Alex Eala plays in her first ever Australian Open main draw match against American Alycia Parks, currently ranked WTA World No. 100. Alex Eala will face her first hurdle at the Australian Open main draw on Monday, January 19th, when she faces American Alycia Parks in the round of 128 in Melbourne. After missing the Australian Open the last 3 years via qualifiers, Eala is raring to make her mark in the first Grand Slam of the 2026 season. Eala is likewise looking for her second win in the main draw of a Grand Slam, following her first-round upset of Clara Tauson at the US Open last year. But Eala will be facing a tough challenge with Parks standing in the way. Related, Alex Eala set for Australian Open main draw debut versus Alycia Parks. The 25-year-old Parks boasts a lengthy resume, which is highlighted by a WTA 1000 doubles title. She also has one singles title and a second doubles championship on the WTA Tour. Parks also made her mark in the WTA 125 scene with 5 singles titles and 3 titles in doubles. Previously, Parks registered 2 top 10 wins, one in 2022 and one in 2023, beating Maria Sakkari and Caroline Garcia, respectively. Parks last won a title at the Open Angers, a WTA 125 tournament in France last December 2024, where she beat Belinda Bencic 7-6, 4, 3-6, 6-0. Eala, on the other hand, has one WTA 125 title to her name, having won the Guadalajara 125 tournament last year. Parks reached a career-high ranking of world number 40 in the WTA rankings in August 2023. The 25-year-old also has made multiple appearances in the Grand Slam main draw. Her best finish came at the Australian Open with a third-round appearance in 2024. Eala and Parks have yet to face each other in their career. Luisa Morales is a sports writer with a special interest in promoting women's sports. Her coverage highlights include the UAP, PVL, Southeast Asian Games, and the FIBA World Cup. She also follows Alex Eala, the Philippine women's national football team, and mixed martial arts. The Australian Open has a way of turning first rounds into first chapters. Under the bright Melbourne sun, where the court's hum and dreams stretch as far as the baseline, Alex Eala's opening assignment carries a name that crackles with power and promise: Alycia Parks. For fans meeting Parks for the first time through this matchup, she isn't just an opponent on a draw sheet, she's a force, a statement, and a test wrapped into one. Alycia Parks arrives at the Australian Open like a thunderclap. Tall, athletic, and armed with one of the biggest serves on the women's tour, the American has built her identity on pace. When Parks tosses the ball skyward, it's not a ritual, it's a warning. Her serve can skid through the box or explode upward, earning free points and short replies. In a sport that often rewards patience and point construction, Parks bends rallies to her will by ending them early. But there's more to Parks than raw power. Raised in the United States tennis system, she grew up believing that aggression isn't recklessness, it's conviction. She plays forward, steps inside the baseline, and looks to dictate with her forehand, flattening shots that rush opponents into uncomfortable positions. When she's in rhythm, the court feels smaller for whoever stands across the net. That's precisely what makes her such a compelling first test for Alex Eala. Eala enters the Australian Open carrying a different kind of reputation. Where Parks is thunder, Eala is tempo. The Filipina left-hander is known for her court sense, her anticipation, and a tennis IQ that often outpaces her years. She reads patterns, redirects pace, and turns defense into offense with subtlety rather than brute force. If Parks represents the modern game's love affair with power, Eala represents its counterbalance: timing, angles, and calm. The contrast is fascinating. For Eala, drawing Parks in round 1 is less a hurdle and more a measuring stick. The Australian Open is unforgiving to hesitation, and Parks does not allow opponents to settle. Every service game threatens to slip away in seconds. Every short ball is an invitation to be punished. To survive and thrive, Eala must absorb the storm without losing her shape. She'll need to use her lefty spin to pull Parks wide, very heights, and disrupt the American's preferred strike zone. Parks, meanwhile, faces her own challenge. Power players often live on a knife's edge. The same aggression that overwhelms can unravel. Against a steady, resourceful opponent like Eala, impatience can creep in. Missed returns, rushed forehands, and frustration can open cracks. Parks must stay disciplined, trusting her weapons without forcing miracles. Beyond tactics, this matchup carries symbolic weight. For Parks, it's a chance to assert herself on one of tennis' biggest stages, to show that her game translates under slam pressure. For Eala, it's a chance to announce herself again, to remind the tennis world that belief, preparation, and intelligence can stand toe-to-toe with sheer force. There's also a generational pulse to this contest. Both players represent a wave of women redefining pathways to the top. Parks, with her fearless serving and athleticism, embodies the evolving physicality of the game. Eala, with her global upbringing and polished fundamentals, reflects tennis' expanding geography and the rise of new tennis cultures. When the first ball is struck, narratives will fade into noise. What remains will be the echo of serves, the scrape of shoes, the sharp intake of breath before a break point. Parks will look to shorten points, to impose her will early. Eala will look to lengthen exchanges, to ask questions, to turn power into pressure. That is why Alycia Parks matters in this story. She is not just Alex Eala's first assignment at the Australian Open, she is the embodiment of the challenge every rising player must face, confronting power without fear, meeting speed with clarity, and proving that your game belongs on the sport's grandest canvas. Win or lose, this opening chapter promises electricity. Because in Melbourne, first rounds don't whisper, they announce. And Alycia Parks, loud in all the right ways, is ready to be heard.